I watch from my kitchen window as my wife Nora struts down Maple Street in that tight red dress, flanked by Damon Vossel and Cedric Fallon like she's some kind of celebrity. The fabric clings to her curves, and she knows it. Every step is calculated, designed to turn heads and start conversations in this Rust Belt town where gossip spreads faster than winter ice. My phone buzzes. It's her. "Don't wait up, Troy. I'm networking tonight." I call her back immediately. She answers on the fourth ring, her voice dripping with that fake sweetness she reserves for when she's about to twist the knife. "What do you want, Troy?" "Nice dress," I say, still watching her through the glass. "Dressing up for your networking meeting?" She laughs, and it's not a pleasant sound. I dress for myself, not for them. And honestly, what can you even do about it anyway? The line goes quiet. Through the window, I see her flip her hair and say something that makes Damon and Cedric laugh. My hands tighten around the phone. "Oh, Nora," I whisper after she hangs up. "You really should have kept walking. 20 years of marriage, and it's come to this. Me, Troy Renwick, standing in the kitchen of our crumbling 2-story house on the wrong side of town, watching my wife parade around with her ex-boyfriend and his lawyer buddy like I don't exist. The neighbors' curtains twitch as they pass. Mrs. Morrow from next door has her phone out, probably already posting to Facebook about Nora's latest fashion statement. My electrical supply business is hemorrhaging money. The Rust Belt economy took everything good about this place and left us with empty storefronts and broken dreams. But I've been holding on, fighting for every contract, every invoice, every small victory that keeps the lights on and the bills paid. Nora used to understand that, used to respect the work it took to build something from nothing. Now she works in high-end real estate, selling million-dollar homes to people who made their money elsewhere and want to play at being small-town royalty. She's gotten a taste of that world, and suddenly everything about our life together isn't good enough anymore. I pour myself a whiskey and sit at the kitchen table, staring at the stack of unpaid invoices. Our daughter Emma is away at college, which means the house feels even emptier than usual. The silence stretches between these walls like a held breath. That's when I see it. Nora's tablet, sitting on the counter where she left it this morning. She's always so careful with her privacy, always keeping her devices locked and out of reach. But tonight, in her rush to get dressed up for Damon and Cedric, she forgot. The screen lights up when I touch it. No passcode required. I shouldn't look. I know I shouldn't. But 20 years of marriage gives a man certain rights, doesn't it? The right to know if his wife is planning to destroy everything they built together? The messages are right there on the home screen. A thread with Damon that makes my stomach turn. "Can't wait to see you tonight. That red dress drives me crazy." Troy's working late again. He never pays attention to what I wear anymore. His loss. I'll show you how a real man appreciates beauty. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I scroll up, and it gets worse. Months of messages, plans and promises and intimate details that make me want to put my fist through the wall. But it's not just Damon. There's another thread with Cedric, the lawyer. "Hotel reservation confirmed for Friday, room 237. You're sure Troy won't find out? Trust me, I've got this covered. If he tries anything, we'll make sure he regrets it." My hands shake as I screenshot everything. The evidence is overwhelming. Not just an affair, but a conspiracy. They've been planning this, using Cedric's legal knowledge to cover their tracks and protect themselves if I ever found out. But they made one mistake. They underestimated me. I grab my jacket and keys. Through the window, I can see them getting into Damon's vintage Mustang, the one he's so proud of. Nora slides into the passenger seat like she belongs there, and Cedric climbs in back. I follow them at a distance, my old pickup truck rumbling through the empty streets. They head toward the expensive part of town, where Damon owns his fancy fitness center. The gym is closed for the night, but Damon has keys. I park across the street and watch them slip inside through the back entrance. Cedric stays outside, leaning against the building like he's standing guard. The whole thing is choreographed, planned down to the last detail. That's when I make my first move. Damon's Mustang sits in the parking lot like a shrine to his ego. Cherry red paint job, chrome details, probably worth more than I make in 6 months. He treats that car better than most people treat their children. I walk over to it slowly, pulling my keys from my pocket. The metal scrapes against the paint with a satisfying screech as I drag it along the driver's side door, then the hood, then the passenger side for good measure. I tear a piece of paper from an old receipt and write a simple message. You're next. I tuck it under the windshield wiper and walk back to my truck. Cedric is still standing guard, but he's looking at his phone instead of watching the parking lot. Amateur. As I drive away, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. When I check it at the next red light, my heart pounds. It's a video. Mrs. Morrow filmed me keying the car from her apartment window across the street. The message reads, "Saw what you did, Troy. This is going to be all over town by morning." I smile and type back, "Good. Let them talk." By the time I get home, there's already a text waiting from Nora. "You're pathetic. Try anything, and you'll regret it." I pour another whiskey and sit back down at the kitchen table. The tablet is still there, still unlocked, still full of evidence that my wife has been planning to destroy our marriage for months. I type a response but don't send it. Instead, I whisper it to the empty house. "Just getting started, sweetheart." Morning comes too early and too bright. My phone has been buzzing since 6 a.m. with calls from numbers I don't recognize. Word travels fast in a town this size, and Mrs. Morrow apparently spent half the night sharing her video with anyone who would watch. I don't answer any of the calls. Instead, I shower, shave, and put on my best work clothes. If this town wants a show, I'll give them one. The first stop is my office. Renwick Electrical Supply occupies a converted warehouse on the industrial side of town where the rent is cheap and the neighbors mind their own business. Or they used to, anyway. Owen Martinez, my best employee and the closest thing I have to a tech expert, is already at his desk when I walk in. He's 26, sharp as a tack, and loyal in a way that's rare these days. He looks up from his computer with concern written all over his face. "Boss, you okay? I heard about last night." "You heard about last night, Owen? It's not even 8 a.m. He turns his monitor toward me. Facebook is open, and Mrs. Morrow's video has already been shared 43 times. The comments section is a mix of shock, sympathy, and barely concealed excitement at the drama unfolding in their quiet neighborhood. "Small towns," I mutter. "Can't take a leak without someone posting about it." Owen laughs, but it's nervous. "What's the plan, boss?" I sit down at my desk and open my laptop. "The plan is to run this business like professionals while my personal life sorts itself out. Think you can handle that?" "Sure, but Troy..." He hesitates, then leans closer. "If you need help with anything else, computer stuff or research or whatever, I'm your guy." I look at him carefully. Owen grew up in this town too. He knows how things work, how information flows, how reputations get built and destroyed. More importantly, he understands technology in ways that guys like Damon and Cedric never will. "Actually, Owen, there might be something you can help me with." I show him the screenshots from Nora's tablet. His eyes widen as he reads through the messages, but he doesn't judge or lecture. He just nods and asks practical questions. "How long has this been going on?" "Months, from what I can tell. Maybe longer." "And the lawyer, Cedric, he's helping them cover it up?" "Looks that way. Hotel reservations, legal advice, probably coaching them on how to protect their assets if things go south." Owen cracks his knuckles and opens a new browser window. "Give me their full names and any phone numbers you have. I'll see what I can find." While Owen works his magic, I handle the morning's business calls. 3 of them are customers asking about the video. 2 are suppliers who heard rumors about my personal problems and want to make sure their invoices will still get paid. 1 is my sister Gina, who works as a legal assistant across town. "Troy, what the hell is going on? Janet from the courthouse just called me asking if you've lost your mind." "Good morning to you too, Gina." "Don't give me that. I saw the video. You keyed Damon Vossel's car? Are you trying to get sued?" I lean back in my chair and watch Owen typing furiously at his computer. "Gina, how long have you been working in legal?" 15 years, you know that. Why? In 15 years, how many cases have you seen where the husband finds out his wife is cheating and just quietly accepts it? There's a long pause. When Gina speaks again, her voice is softer. "Oh, Troy, I'm sorry. I didn't know it was that serious." "It's serious. And it's not just cheating. They've been planning this for months, using legal advice to protect themselves and set me up to lose everything." "What do you need me to do?" That's my sister. Once she understands the situation, she doesn't waste time on sympathy or lectures. She gets straight to business. I need to know what my options are, legally speaking, and I need to know what Cedric Fallon's reputation looks like in the courthouse. I can help with both of those things, but Troy, you have to be smart about this. Don't do anything that gives them ammunition to use against you. After I hang up with Gina, Owen waves me over to his computer. He's got multiple windows open, and his expression is grim. "Your wife and her friends have been busy," he says. "Look at this." He shows me Nora's social media accounts. For the past 3 months, she's been posting photos of herself with Damon at various events around town. Charity fundraisers, business networking meetings, fitness classes at his gym. The captions are carefully neutral, but the body language in the photos tells a different story. "She's been building a public narrative," Owen explains, "making it look like they're just friends, just business associates. If anyone questions the relationship later, she can point to these posts and say it was all innocent." "What about Cedric?" Owen clicks to another window. "He's been even more careful. No photos with your wife, but look at this." He shows me a series of posts from Cedric's professional page. He's been advertising his services in family law and divorce proceedings, posted a bunch of articles about protecting assets during marital disputes. My jaw clenches. They've been planning this for months. Gets worse. I found the hotel records. They've been meeting at the Grandview downtown every Friday for the past 2 months. Always paid for in cash, always booked under fake names, but the security cameras probably caught them coming and going. I stare at the evidence accumulating on Owen's screen. Photos, posts, records, patterns of behavior that paint a clear picture of conspiracy and betrayal. But instead of feeling defeated, I feel something else entirely. Clarity. For months, I've been wondering why my marriage felt wrong, why Nora seemed distant, why our finances were tighter than they should be. Now I know. While I was working 16-hour days to keep our business afloat, she was planning her exit strategy with the help of her ex-boyfriend and his lawyer friend. "Owen, I need you to keep digging. Find everything you can about their finances, their business dealings, anything that might be useful." "You got it, boss. But what are you going to do?" I grab my jacket and head for the door. "I'm going to pay a visit to some old friends." Marty's bar sits on the corner of 5th and Main, in a building that's older than most of the people who drink there. Marty O'Brien has owned the place for 30 years, and before that, he trained amateur boxers in the gym upstairs. He taught me how to fight when I was 16 and angry at the world. Now I'm 38 and angry at my wife, but the lessons still apply. Marty is behind the bar when I walk in, polishing glasses with the methodical patience of a man who's seen every kind of trouble the world can offer. He's in his 60s now, gray-haired and thick around the middle, but his eyes are still sharp. "Troy Renwick," he says without looking up. "Heard you had an interesting evening." Word travels fast. Faster when it involves Damon Vossel's precious car. He sets down the glass and looks at me directly. What can I do for you? I sit at the bar and order a coffee. It's not even noon, but I need something to steady my nerves. Remember what you used to tell us about fighting, Marty? About not swinging wild when you're angry? Make them feel the punches before you throw them, he recites. Why, you planning to hit someone? Maybe, but not with my fists. Marty nods slowly. He understands the difference between violence and strategy, between losing control and taking control. What's the situation? I tell him everything. The affair, the planning, the conspiracy to protect themselves while destroying me. Marty listens without interrupting, occasionally nodding or making small sounds of disapproval. So what's your plan? He asks when I finish. I'm going to make them regret underestimating me. Good. But remember, kid, the best fights end before the other guy realizes he's already lost. I finish my coffee and stand to leave. Thanks, Marty. Troy, he calls as I reach the door. Don't become something you'll regret being. I nod and walk out into the afternoon sun. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Charity gala tonight at the Grandview Hotel. Your wife will be there with her friends. Thought you might want to know. A friend. I smile and type back. Thank you. Time to make them feel the first punch. The Grandview Hotel hasn't seen this much excitement since the governor visited 3 years ago. Tonight's charity gala is the social event of the season, which in a town like ours means about 200 people pretending to care about local causes while they gossip about their neighbors and show off their best clothes. I wasn't invited, but that's never stopped me before. I park my pickup truck between a Mercedes and a BMW, enjoying the contrast. My best suit is 10 years old, but it's clean and pressed, and I've got nothing to be ashamed of. I built my business with these hands, paid my taxes, employed local people, and contributed to this community in ways that matter. The ballroom is decorated with white linens and gold accents, trying to create an atmosphere of elegance that can't quite hide the worn carpet and outdated fixtures. I spot Nora immediately. She's wearing a black cocktail dress that probably cost more than most people in this room make in a week, standing next to Damon like they're the king and queen of the prom. Damon cleaned up well for someone whose car got keyed last night. His tuxedo fits perfectly, and he's working the room like a politician, shaking hands and making small talk with the local business owners and civic leaders. Cedric hovers nearby, playing the role of distinguished legal counsel. I grab a drink from the bar and position myself near the back of the room, watching and waiting. The evening's program includes dinner, a silent auction, and speeches from various community leaders. Damon is scheduled to speak about his gym's youth fitness programs. Perfect. I wait until he's halfway through his presentation before I make my move. He's talking about the importance of physical fitness and community involvement, gesturing toward a slideshow of smiling teenagers using his equipment. Hope you're donating your morals, not just your money, I call out from the back of the room. The ballroom goes quiet. 200 heads turn to look at me, and I can feel the excitement ripple through the crowd like electricity. This is the confrontation they've all been waiting for since Mrs. Morrow's video started making the rounds. Damon's face goes red, but he tries to maintain his composure. Excuse me? I walk down the center aisle, my footsteps echoing in the sudden silence. I said, I hope you're donating your morals, because from what I can tell, you don't seem to be using them for anything else. Nora steps forward, her voice sharp with embarrassment and anger. Troy, what are you doing here? You weren't invited. Funny thing about community events, sweetheart. The community includes everyone, even the husbands you're trying to humiliate. The crowd is eating this up. I can see phones coming out, people positioning themselves for better views, the social media machine spinning up to capture every moment of the drama. Damon steps down from the podium, trying to look calm and reasonable. Troy, I think there's been a misunderstanding. Maybe we should talk about this privately. Oh, I think the community deserves to know what kind of man they're listening to, I reply. The kind who sneaks around with other men's wives. The kind who uses his lawyer friend to cover his tracks. The kind who thinks a fancy gym and a nice tuxedo make him better than the people who actually built this town. That's when Damon loses his temper. He shoves me, hard, and I stumble backward into a table of auction items. The crowd gasps and surges forward, but I'm already moving. 20 years since Marty taught me to box, but muscle memory is a beautiful thing. My right hook catches Damon square in the nose, and the sound of cartilage crunching echoes through the ballroom like a gunshot. Damon goes down hard, his tuxedo shirt now decorated with bright red stains. The crowd erupts in chaos, some people screaming, others cheering, everyone trying to get a better view or a clearer photo. Security arrives within seconds, but I don't resist. I raise my hands and let them escort me toward the exit, but not before I turn back to address the room one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for disrupting your evening, but sometimes a man has to stand up for what's right, even when it's inconvenient. As they walk me out, I catch Nora's eye. She's kneeling next to Damon, trying to help him stop the flow from his nose, and her expression is pure hatred. But there's something else there too. For the first time in months, I've surprised her. For the first time in months, she's realized that I'm not going to just roll over and accept whatever she and her friends have planned. The security guards escort me to the parking lot, but don't call the police. This is a private event, and the hotel doesn't want the bad publicity that would come with pressing charges. They just want me gone. I drive home with a black eye and a sore hand, but I'm smiling. Phase 1 is complete. Owen is waiting for me when I get back to the office the next morning. He's got coffee ready and a stack of printouts on my desk. "Boss, you've been busy," he says, grinning. "The video from last night is already up to 50,000 views on YouTube." I sit down and look through his research. Bank records, property transfers, business filings, social media archives. The pattern is becoming clearer. "Look at this," Owen says, pointing to a series of financial documents. "Your wife has been moving money around for the past 6 months. Small amounts, nothing that would trigger any automatic alerts, but it adds up to about $30,000. Where's it going?" That's the interesting part. It's not going to another account. It's being converted to cash, withdrawn from ATMs all over the county in amounts just under the reporting threshold. I study the records. Nora has been systematically draining our joint accounts, building a cash reserve that I couldn't trace or freeze if I wanted to. She's been planning her escape for months, probably with Cedric's legal advice. "What about Damon's business?" Owen pulls up another set of documents. "His gym is doing well, but he's got some interesting expenses. Look at these payments to something called Consulting Services LLC. The company doesn't seem to exist anywhere except on paper, but it's been receiving regular payments from Damon's business account for the past year." When Owen traces the corporate filings, the address leads to Cedric's law office. They're laundering money, I realize. Damon pays Cedric through the fake company, probably for legal services that aren't exactly legitimate. "Gets better," Owen says. "I found the hotel security footage from their Friday meetings. Want to see?" He opens a video file on his computer. The quality isn't great, but it clearly shows Nora and Damon entering and leaving the Grandview Hotel on multiple occasions. The timestamps match the dates from the fake company payments. "They've been documenting their own conspiracy," I mutter. "How stupid can they be?" "Stupid enough to underestimate you," Owen replies. "What's the next move?" I lean back in my chair and consider the options. The evidence is overwhelming, but I need to be strategic about how I use it. Going to the police won't accomplish much since adultery isn't a crime, and the financial irregularities are technically civil matters. But there are other ways to apply pressure. "Owen, I need you to do something for me. Anonymous tip to the State Bar Association about Cedric's business practices. Include the fake company records and the hotel footage. Don't mention my name." "You got it. What about your wife?" "Nora's boss is Janet Morrison, right? The one who runs Morrison Realty?" Owen nods. Janet's husband owns the biggest construction company in the county. They've been married for 30 years, and she's got very strong opinions about marriage and loyalty. I think she'd be interested to know that one of her agents has been using company time and resources to conduct an extramarital affair. I spend the rest of the morning making phone calls and setting pieces in motion. By lunchtime, I've frozen our joint bank accounts, filed for separation of assets, and scheduled meetings with 3 different lawyers. Not because I plan to hire all of them, but because once they've met with me, conflict of interest rules will prevent them from representing Nora. My phone rings just as I'm finishing lunch. It's Gina. "Troy, what did you do last night? The whole courthouse is talking about you punching Damon Vossel at the charity gala." "I defended my honor, and my marriage, and my community's right to know what kind of people they're supporting. The judge who handles domestic cases was at that gala, Troy. Judge Patterson. She doesn't appreciate public displays of violence. Good thing I'm not planning to get divorced then." There's a pause. "What do you mean?" "I mean I'm not giving up my marriage without a fight. Nora wants to play games with lawyers and secret bank accounts and public humiliation. Fine. But she's going to discover that I'm much better at this game than she thinks." Gina sighs. "Just be careful, okay? Don't do anything that can't be undone." After I hang up, I sit quietly in my office for a few minutes, thinking about what comes next. The town is buzzing with gossip and speculation. Nora and her friends are probably scrambling to control the narrative and protect themselves from the fallout. But they made one crucial mistake. They assumed I was weak. They assumed I would just accept whatever they decided to do to me. My phone buzzes with a text from Nora. "Your credit cards are frozen. What did you do?" I type back, "Just evening the playing field, sweetheart." Her response comes immediately. "You have no idea who you're fighting." I smile and put the phone away. She's right about one thing. I don't know who I'm fighting yet, but I'm about to find out. 3 days after the charity gala incident, my world starts falling apart in ways I didn't expect. It begins with a phone call from my biggest supplier. "Troy, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to put your account on hold until you settle your outstanding balance." "What outstanding balance? I paid that invoice last week." "According to our records, the check bounced. Insufficient funds." I hang up and immediately call the bank. The automated system confirms what I already suspected. Someone has been making withdrawals from our business account. Large ones. Owen looks up from his computer as I storm into the office. "Boss, we've got problems. Tell me something I don't know." He turns his monitor toward me. My business credit rating has dropped 40 points overnight. Someone filed complaints with the Better Business Bureau claiming I've been overcharging customers and using substandard materials. The reviews on our company website have been flooded with negative comments from accounts that were created just yesterday. "This is coordinated," I say, studying the pattern of attacks. "Professional. Gets worse. Look at this." Owen shows me a local news article that went live an hour ago. The headline reads, "Local business owners' personal problems affect professional reputation." The article includes quotes from anonymous sources claiming that my erratic behavior and violent tendencies make me unsuitable to work in people's homes. They're trying to destroy my business, I realize. It's working. We've had 6 cancellations this morning. I sit down at my desk and try to think clearly. This level of coordination requires resources and expertise that go beyond what Nora, Damon, and Cedric could manage on their own. Someone else is pulling the strings. "Owen, I need you to trace these attacks back to their source. Find out who's really behind this." "Already on it. Give me a few hours." While Owen works, I drive across town to see Gina at the courthouse. She's waiting for me in the parking lot, and her expression is grim. "Troy, we need to talk." We walk to a coffee shop across the street where we can speak privately. Gina orders for both of us, and then leans across the table. "Cedric Fallon came to see Judge Patterson this morning. He filed a restraining order request against you on behalf of Damon Vossel." "On what grounds?" "Assault, harassment, and destruction of property. He's claiming you're a danger to his client and requesting that you be ordered to stay at least 500 feet away from Damon and his business. I laugh, but it's not a pleasant sound. That's rich. He starts an affair with my wife, I key his car and punch him once, and suddenly I'm the dangerous one? Troy, listen to me. Judge Patterson is taking this seriously. She's scheduled a hearing for tomorrow morning, and if Cedric can make his case, you'll be legally prohibited from going anywhere near Damon. That includes his gym, his house, and any place he happens to be. What about Nora? He didn't include her in the request, probably because that would require admitting they have a relationship worth protecting. I sip my coffee and consider the implications. A restraining order would limit my ability to confront them directly, but it might also force them to be more careful about their public appearances together. Can you be there tomorrow, at the hearing? I can observe, but I can't represent you. You need a real lawyer for that. I'll handle it myself. Gina looks skeptical. Troy, Cedric is good at what he does. Don't underestimate him. Everyone keeps telling me not to underestimate people. Maybe it's time they stopped underestimating me. I drive back to the office with a plan forming in my mind. If they want to play legal games, I can play legal games. But first, I need to understand who I'm really fighting. Owen is practically vibrating with excitement when I walk in. Boss, you're not going to believe what I found. He's got multiple windows open on his computer, displaying financial records, social media profiles, and what looks like a private investigator's report. Remember how I said this felt too coordinated to be just your wife and her friends? Well, I was right. Look at this. He shows me a bank account belonging to someone named Lexi Richardson. The name is familiar, but I can't place it immediately. Lexi Richardson, Owen continues, used to work for you about 5 years ago. You fired her for stealing from petty cash and falsifying expense reports. The memory comes flooding back. Lexi was young, ambitious, and completely unethical. She'd been skimming money from the business and charging personal expenses to company accounts. When I caught her, she claimed it was all a misunderstanding, but the evidence was clear. She's been planning this for years, Owen explains. Look at these financial records. She's been making regular payments to a private investigator, a social media management company, and something called Reputation Services, LLC. What's Reputation Services? Company that specializes in online reputation management. They can flood review sites with fake comments, manipulate search results, and create coordinated social media campaigns. Guess who their latest target is? Owen pulls up a contract with my name on it. Lexi has been paying this company to systematically destroy my business reputation while building up positive coverage for Damon's gym. She's been using Nora, I realize. The affair, the public humiliation, all of it. Nora thinks she's in control, but Lexi has been manipulating her from the beginning. Gets better. Remember those cash withdrawals your wife has been making? Look where the money goes. Owen shows me a series of photographs taken by the private investigator Lexi hired. They show Nora meeting with various people around town, passing envelopes of cash in exchange for what looks like documents or information. She's been paying for dirt on you. Medical records, business documents, personal information from anyone who might have a grudge or a story to tell. I stare at the evidence accumulating on Owen's screen. My wife, the woman I've been married to for 20 years, has been systematically gathering ammunition to destroy me, guided by someone I fired for stealing from my business. Where is Lexi now? Owen pulls up an address. She's renting a house out by the lake. Expensive place, way above what she should be able to afford based on her legitimate income. I grab my jacket. I'm going to pay her a visit. Boss, wait. If she's been planning this for years, she's probably ready for a confrontation. You should be careful. Owen, I've been careful my whole life. I've played by the rules, treated people fairly, and tried to do the right thing. Look where it got me. I drive out to the lake with my phone recording everything. If this conversation goes badly, I want evidence of what really happened. Lexi's rental house is a modern glass and steel structure that looks out of place among the traditional lake cottages. Her car, a new BMW, sits in the driveway like a monument to her success at destroying other people's lives. She answers the door on the second knock, and her smile is pure poison. Troy Renwick. I was wondering when you'd figure it out. Hello, Lexi. Nice place. Business must be good. Oh, it is. Revenge is a very profitable industry, especially when you're patient and thorough. She invites me in like we're old friends catching up. The house is furnished with expensive modern pieces that probably cost more than most people make in a year. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the lake stretches out like a mirror. Why? I ask. You destroyed my career. You humiliated me in front of the whole town. You made sure I couldn't get another job in this industry. You were stealing from me, Lexi. You falsified records and lied to my customers. I was ambitious. I was trying to build something, but you couldn't stand the idea of someone like me succeeding, could you? She pours herself a glass of wine and doesn't offer me one. So I decided to return the favor. It took 5 years of planning, but I found the perfect weapon. Nora. Your wife was so easy to manipulate. A few conversations about how you don't appreciate her, how she deserves better, how successful men like Damon would treat her like a queen. She practically threw herself at him. Lexi walks to the window and looks out at the lake. The affair was just the beginning. I've been documenting everything, building a case that will destroy your reputation, your business, and your marriage all at once. And Cedric? Damon's friend, but he's also ambitious. I convinced him that representing the wronged party in a high-profile domestic dispute would be great publicity for his practice. He has no idea I'm involved. I pull out my phone and show her that it's been recording our conversation. You just confessed to conspiracy, fraud, and probably a dozen other crimes. Lexi laughs. Troy, who's going to believe you? A man who's been publicly humiliated by his wife, who assaulted someone at a charity gala, whose business is failing because of his own incompetence. You think anyone will take your word over mine? She has a point, but she's made one crucial mistake. She's told me everything. Now I know who my real enemy is, and I know how she's been operating. Lexi, you're right about one thing. I did destroy your career, but that was because you were stealing from me and lying to my customers. I walked toward the door, then turned back. The difference between us is that when I destroyed your career, it was because you deserved it. When you destroy mine, it's just because you can. Exactly, she says, raising her wine glass in a mock toast. Welcome to the real world, Troy. I drive back to town with a plan forming in my mind. Tomorrow's restraining order hearing just became much more interesting. The courthouse is packed for what should have been a routine restraining order hearing. Word has spread through town that this is where the Renwick marriage drama will finally reach its climax, and half the population has shown up to watch. I represent myself, carrying a briefcase full of evidence that Owen helped me organize. Cedric sits at the plaintiff's table with Damon, looking confident and professional in his expensive suit. Nora is in the gallery, along with what seems like everyone else in town. Judge Patterson calls the court to order and asks Cedric to present his case. He stands and launches into a well-rehearsed speech about my pattern of escalating violence and harassment toward his client. Your Honor, Mr. Renwick has demonstrated a clear inability to control his anger. He vandalized my client's vehicle, assaulted him at a public event, and has been making threatening statements around town. My client fears for his safety. Cedric presents photos of the keyed car, a medical report from Damon's broken nose, and witness statements from people at the charity gala. It's a solid case, professionally presented. When he finishes, Judge Patterson turns to me. Mr. Renwick, how do you respond to these allegations? I stand and walk to the center of the courtroom. Your Honor, I'd like to present some evidence that I believe is relevant to this case. I open my briefcase and pull out the first set of documents. These are bank records showing that my wife has been systematically draining our joint accounts for the past 6 months, converting approximately $30,000 to untraceable cash. Cedric objects, but Judge Patterson allows me to continue. These are hotel records and security footage showing that my wife and Mr. Vossel have been conducting an extramarital affair for months, using false names and meeting at the same hotel where this charity gala took place. The courtroom erupts in whispers and gasps. Nora's face goes white, and Damon shifts uncomfortably in his chair. These are financial records showing that Mr. Vossel has been making payments to a fake consulting company operated by Mr. Fallon, possibly for legal services related to covering up this affair. Now Cedric looks worried. He starts to object again, but I'm not finished. And finally, Your Honor, this is a recorded confession from Ms. Lexi Richardson, who admits to orchestrating a conspiracy to destroy my business and personal reputation as revenge for terminating her employment 5 years ago. I play the recording on a small speaker. Lexi's voice fills the courtroom, clear and unmistakable, admitting to manipulating Nora, coordinating the attacks on my business, and planning the entire sequence of events that led to this hearing. The courtroom is silent when the recording ends. Judge Patterson stares at me for a long moment, then turns to Cedric. Mr. Fallon, did you know about any of this when you filed this restraining order request? Cedric looks like he's been hit by a truck. Your Honor, No, I had no knowledge of any conspiracy. I was simply representing my client's legitimate safety concerns. Your client who has been conducting an affair with the defendant's wife? Your client who has been paying you through a fake company? Your client whose safety concerns stem from his own decision to destroy someone else's marriage? Judge Patterson is clearly not pleased. She turns back to me. Mr. Renwick, while I don't condone violence, I can understand how a man might lose his temper upon discovering this level of betrayal and manipulation. However, that doesn't give you the right to take the law into your own hands. I understand, Your Honor, but I'd like to point out that I've filed complaints with the appropriate authorities regarding the financial fraud, the business sabotage, and the conspiracy. I'm not taking the law into my own hands. I'm using the law to protect myself and my business. Judge Patterson nods slowly. Mr. Fallon, I'm denying your request for a restraining order. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the State Bar Association for investigation of potential ethical violations. The courtroom explodes in noise as people react to the decision. Cedric looks stunned. Damon looks angry. Nora looks terrified. But I'm not finished yet. As people file out of the courtroom, I stand up and address the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming today. I know this has been difficult for everyone involved, but I think it's important that the truth finally came out. I pull out one final document from my briefcase. Before you all go, there's one more thing I'd like to share. The crowd stops and turns back toward me. Even Judge Patterson pauses to listen. This is a DNA test result that I received this morning. It concerns the paternity of my daughter Emma. Nora gasps and tries to rush toward me, but the bailiff stops her. I don't open the envelope. Instead, I set it on the table and look directly at my wife. Nora, you might want to open that before breakfast tomorrow, or maybe Damon would like to do the honors. The courtroom erupts in chaos. People are shouting, cameras are flashing, and Nora is screaming something I can't quite make out over the noise. I walk calmly toward the exit, leaving the unopened envelope on the table. As I reach the door, I turn back one more time. Oh, and Mrs. Morrow, I call to the neighbor who started this whole public spectacle with her video. I'm putting the house up for sale. Highest gossip wins. I walk out into the afternoon sunshine, leaving behind the wreckage of my marriage, my wife's reputation, and the comfortable lies that this town has been telling itself about loyalty and community values. My phone buzzes with a text from Owen. Boss, the State Bar Association wants to interview you about Cedric. The IRS wants to talk about those fake company payments, and 3 reporters want exclusive interviews. I type back, schedule them all. It's time this story got told properly. As I drive away from the courthouse, I pass Marty's bar. Through the window, I can see him watching the street with that patient expression he's worn for 30 years. He raises his hand in a small salute, and I nod back. The fight is over. I won. But more importantly, I finally understand what Marty meant all those years ago about making them feel the punches before you throw them. The real victory wasn't in the courthouse today. It was in the months of careful preparation, the systematic gathering of evidence, and the patient construction of a trap that my enemies walked into willingly. Nora wanted to play games with lawyers and secret bank accounts and public humiliation. She got exactly what she asked for, just not the way she expected. I drive toward the sunset, leaving behind the wreckage of my old life and the people who thought they could destroy me without consequences. Tomorrow, I'll start building something new, something better, something that can't be taken away by people who mistake kindness for weakness. The town will talk about this for years. That's fine, let them talk. After all, I gave them one hell of a story to tell.